Hello and welcome to a preview of tonight's Donny Action. It's Monday, the 9th of January. Kick off with an A4 grade event at 6:09. Tough enough race, this one. There's a debut dog in the shape of Fiddler's Tune in Trap 2. Don't know much about Kathy Lisser's Charge, young puppy. Put in a big price. In the form, in Trap 1's bang out of form. A lot of these aren't really flying by any means. I guess that the outside pair have got some kind of squeeze. Billy's Ditch seems to smash out and doesn't really do too much afterwards. So all in all, thought it was a real tricky enough race, and I had no bet in race 1. On to race 2, A3 grade event. The prices have contracted now. I thought that Romantic Core had a little bit of a squeeze to lead. Whether that's going to be good enough, I'm not too sure. She's getting a little bit stronger as she gets older, but I had a little nibble on Magical Katie, who's stepping up in trip. Now, she was off the card at the early part of December, and she came back with a qualifying trial over this trip. She was running 450. This is a 483. And then she had another trial over the sprint trip. So you don't really know what shape a Magical Katie's in, but I always felt that she wanted the stay-in distance, the 483. She was much bigger. She's only a youngster. She's a good news bitch, the Guildford breeding with that magical prefix. Sean Parker, master trainer, he can get them ready. And I did nibble Magical Katie around about an 8-1 chance, but contracted right the way into 3-1, which is about the price I'm making now. So I can't really advise a bet, but if she did drift out to maybe 9-2 or 5-1 on the Matchbook Exchange, it's worth probably a real tiny bet as a bit of interest. Magical Katie. On to race 3, a tough race this one. It's over the 450 metre trip of B5. Millhouse Linda in red isn't running great. Will edge off slightly as well from the inside, but she's well down in class here. I just felt that with any kind of break, she might get into the contest. And again, she was hovering around being sort of 5-2 favourite-ish. I made a sort of 7-2 favourite, really, to even entertain having a bet. If she did drift out, again, I'd have a small bet. Next door neighbour, Katunda Dotty, put in a poor effort when made to retrial last time out. Anna Blake's got a little bit of early, but he's not really bending that great. Mazzy Mac put in a decent effort, but he's got a clear. Anna Blake, Ross Temple Burp, little bit of EP. Light for Cavani could be a frame-up dog here, but again, he's not a completely enormous price. So all in all, it was one of those ifs, buts, and maybes. Didn't really have a bet on the earlies, but I could be tempted just to take a chance on Millhouse Linda around about the 7-2 for tiny stakes. On to race 4, the 6:58, and again, competitive enough race. I made the runners 2, 3, and 6. Hello Kiara is just a little bit of an easing grade here, but I prefer her in red. She's got 2 and Loghill Buster inside her, which might cause her a few problems. Brennan's Danny's going to smash the bars down out of 3 and edge in a little bit as well, so that's not going to really help. Rosanda Blake in 5 won last time out and looked all right, but that was in poor ground. Maybe got handed the race, actually, is now up in grade, but he's in 5 and will move into sort of lane 4, maybe even 3.5, which is going to give Penny's Hassili a real good run to the turn. And she's 17 and a bit weeks out of season now. She's starting to run well. She hasn't been out the frame in the last 4 efforts, a win and 3 seconds. She could easily win this race if turning in a pitch. But again, at kind of 6-4, 2-1 wasn't quite big enough for me. So it was a no bet in race 4. On to race 5, and the first bet that I have had is Trap 5 Bar here. It's a B2 grade, but it's a weak B2. And Bar has got a nice turn of early. Not always the best of breakers, but got that early zip and only just about gets home as well. So you really do need to get to the front. The fact that Footfield Jemmy on the inside is a slow starter and more of a staying type helps. Footfield Adam did us a favour a couple of runs back, but more of a smash break than anything else, and isn't guaranteed to clear his next door neighbour Parkgate Champ. Boss Girl's become one of those where she really relies on a start. She's got a decent enough draw, but she's more likely to miss it than hit it. So that kind of left Rosie Star on the outside. That was a saver for us last week and came and smashed the bars down and even led Rosanda Katie, which was a bit strange, and you won't get that too many times. So all things being equal, I think if the trap's open and get a sensible breakout of Trap 5 Bar, he'll lead, outclass them and win. So around about 2-1 was about the right price. I did back him a little bit bigger than that actually, but I make him shorter. So he's still a bet at the 2-1 mark, bar in the 7.18. Moving on to race 6, a B3 grade event. I think 1 and 2 are drawn wrong here. Nola's Rail has been off the card. Sean Parker's given him a couple of trials back. They're not great trials by any means. 29.04. He did get crowded at the second bend in his trial, but I've got no evidence of that. So that doesn't really help. But I would want to see more of him, and he's going to edge off into lane 2 from the red jacket, whereas Dingy Shez desperately wants red. So they're drawn wrong. He's going to give Rosanda June in track 3 a really good run to the turn. She was put up by myself as a bet last time out. She led and got mugged right on the line by a True Mount Lucky, a lady who's an improver. I thought the only danger really to Rosanda June was Fairy Hill Run. Can break well and turn behind and maybe just outstay Rosanda June, but I think class-wise she might just have an edge. Civil Jack's really outgraded here. He's up in grade without winning. And Ruffian Helena keeps walking out the boxes, and she will edge in from 6 as well. So I think it's 3 and 4. The prices just allowed us to have a bet. I made Rosanda June quite short, really, and Fairy Hill Run second in. So at 2-1 and 6-1, decent play race in race 6. Moving on to the 7th, another B3 grade event. I thought that Rosanda Katie was a straightforward bet here. Got a big chance to lead. She didn't quite lead, as I mentioned last week, and Rosie Star outgunned her from Lid Rise, but I think she should lead these all right. Gemma Pops is in trap 2. That will go right the way into lane 1, and 1 Dingy's Herb and 2 Gemma Pops could clash. I don't think Sharpie's Sweetie Pie is quite good enough. Same applies for Kilbarry Tigey as well. Midas Rose is an interesting runner, been a bit on and off the card, and she's tended to miss the break. There's probably a better run in her, but I think Rosanda Katie, straightforward bet. If you get 6-4, if it bounces back out onto the Matchbook Exchange, probably bet. But at the moment at evens and the 11-10, I'm not too worried. And I did have a small bet, a tiny bet, couldn't get a lot on Rosanda Katie, but it was a fairly confident selection. On to race 8, the first of the sprints, a D4 grade event, this one. And I thought that 3 Eden Raven was massively overpriced, enormous at about 10-1. Couldn't quite get that price, but still plenty of value, even about a 6-1 chance made him much shorter than that. Effectively, he's only a breaker, but there's not a lot of speed in this race. Be Proud continues to disappoint, slow breaker, easing on the bends. Likewise, Penny's Charisma never comes out. The dogs on the outside are smash breakers. Dream on Penny especially, but she looks shot to bits now. And Polo Marco really, although it said he got beaten the D4 last night, this is a much easier race. But I'm afraid he just does not look sound at all to me. And I'll be surprised actually if he runs tonight, which will be a bit of a shame for us because it'll ruin the early prices. But Eden Raven, a big price. And the only danger is Ballygur Mia. Well found in the market, but I've still got to bet this one at 6-4 because I make that slightly shorter. Tried to go to the bend and show early pace last time out. Got dragged back and sort of got knocked over, really. Fell was the comment. And came back with a fair enough trial. So they were the 2 runners. 3, Eden Raven for me was second favourite, but at around about 8-10-1 was enormously overpriced. And we've just got to have a bit of a play on Ballygur Mia in 4. On to race 9, another sprint. I thought this was tough enough. I thought Do It Blackmore in trap 6 was massively underpriced at around about evens on the earlies. I thought it was more of a competitive race, this one. I was very disappointed with Midtown Zero. Put this one up in trap 3 last time out. Came out the boxes, but was poor to the bend. If you're in a forgiving mood, I suppose, if he went out to a price, you could back him. Ridgedale Tiny's a greyhound that I keep following. I think she's the other runner. She just caught the back of the 6 Eden Regal when she got beat last week, and her action went a little bit. So she could improve. Myla Pippin is a disappointment. Couldn't even clear Moss Millie last time out, who I like as a place up and greyhound, but they both got dragged back 1 and 2, so they're same boxes again. And all in all, I thought it was a head scratcher, and I didn't have a bet. On to race 10, I think 1 and 2 are drawn wrong here. Sadrina moves off from 1, and Kurt's Rush wants the rails, and actually was a big price winner last week and hasn't got too much more to do. Held Meat Mayhem to the bend quite comfortably, actually, and that one's obviously got to come round a little bit more traffic. Make My Day Punk, never think he wants to be in 5, and he ran all right, actually, when he did last run out of 5, but he's better out of 6, and I don't think Burnfoot Duke can clear him. Again, I didn't really want to take 2-1 Meat Mayhem after he was beaten by Kurt's Rush last time out. And I guess, as I say, Kurt's Rush not really ideally drawn in 2. So, again, I swerved that race. On to race 11. Not too competitive, this. I thought the runners here were Timoho Sally in 3, who's on the downgrade here, but a little bit below form. And Penny's Linnet, who's more of a smash breaker, relies on that start and then moves into the middle of the track from 6. The 2 dogs I didn't fancy, 2 and 5, they're double digits. Coletown Lola is a disappointment. And Kalara Bio might just be a bit of a fly in the ointment here, because I didn't really know how to price her up. She's 15 and a half weeks out of season. You'd expect to see a little bit of a glimmer of improvement. We haven't really seen too much of that, but from this draw, I don't think I could line her completely. So all in all, prices dictated that there was no bet. On to the last race, and On the Booze did us a favour last week. I don't think has got too much more to do. So around about the 2-1 mark, made this one sort of 6-4 really. So is a bet from the red, and I'm not really a fan of Parish Bulletin, but to be fair, he's been flying to the corner. He moves kind of middling, cuts the bend, and he's not really great on a turn, especially when there's dogs around him. But if he did, again, happen to take a flyer and clear these, I'd be sick if he went off at 6 or 7-1 and without anything on. So I'm going to bet On the Booze in the last from track 1, and also have a little bit of a nibble on Parish Bulletin in 5. Not too many bets on the earlies for you, because some of them contracted. Let's just have a look at the recommendations that are still available then. 7-18 track 5 bar to get any kind of break there and lead all the way. Back Rosanda June in the 7:36, and also had a little bit of a nibble on Fairy Hill Run at a decent price. Same here, good price for Eden Raven, 10-1. I'd even bet this one as low as 5-1. I think it's massively overpriced. And Ballygall Mere is probably the most likely winner. And On the Booze in the last, along with Parish Bulletin. So we'll be back again on Wednesday. Good luck tonight, and we'll see you soon.